The views expressed in this blog are hosted on my own website, are strictly personal, and do not reflect the views of any organization. Hello and welcome once again, my friends, to Straight Bat, my weekly video blog where, as the title suggests, I comment with a straight bat. Now, the title to this week's blog is self-explanatory: The Politics of Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, the Congress leader, the much talked about leader. But before we get into the meat of the subject, let me bring a clarification and an apology to all of you. It was in November 2014, soon after the release of my book, 2014, The Election That Changed India. I was in conversation with celebrity author Shobha at a lit fest in Mumbai, and Shobha asked me what I thought of the politics of Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. Now remember, at this stage, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra had barely stepped out of the family pocket borough of Rae Bareli and Amethi, campaigning for her brother and mother. So my response, and I want to quote it exactly to Shobha, was this: Shobha, politics is now ruthlessly competitive 24/7. There is no place for guest appearances or item numbers. Next day, an article in the DNA newspaper came on my conversation with the headline, Priyanka Gandhi does politics like an item girl. This was an unfortunate headline, twisting my comments out of context and sensationalizing what I had said or not said only to get eyeballs. I clarified this 7 years ago, soon after the article came out. I feel it necessary to clarify it again because there are some Congress and BJP IT cells that have raked up that article once again to target me on social media. At the same time, let me also apologize unreservedly for the choice of words at the time. It was a poor choice of words. I should have been much more careful in the times in which we live to ensure that I didn't say what I said. As I said, it was a comment that could easily be seen as misogynistic and sexist. I could have made my point without alluding to the term item numbers. So therefore, I apologize as I did then. I apologize again to you, and indeed I have to Priyanka Gandhi Vadra then and now. Well, now that I've cleared the air on that issue, let me revert to the central theme: the politics of Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. In the last week, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has been all over the place, making the headlines ever since the UP police detained her when she was on her way to Lakhimpur Kheri, where, remember, 8 people had died in violence, including farmers. She was put under virtual detention in Sitapur by the Yogi Adityanath government, not allowed to move out without being served an arrest warrant or even an FIR. The videos of her sweeping the floor in Sitapur have gone viral. Her sound bites taking on the Yogi government have been making the headlines, and her rally, the Congress rally in Varanasi, also attracted huge crowds. So the question: has Priyanka Gandhi Vadra finally come of age as a politician of substance? Yes and no is my answer. Now, I know many of you will say this is Rajdeep doing monkey balancing. No, my friends, a journalist must reflect the objective reality. And the objective reality is this: yes, without a shadow of a doubt, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has come a long way from the young woman I first met in 1999 when she was campaigning for her mother Sonia Gandhi for the first time in Amethi. In fact, there's an interesting backstory here. I was in NDTV at the time. We used to do a program called Follow the Leader, tracking a leader for 24 hours. We thought we'd track Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, even though she was not strictly a leader at the time, but she was bringing an excitement, a buzz to the campaign. The problem was I didn't have access to her, so I contacted Sushil Kumar Shinde, the former Maharashtra Chief Minister, who was then in charge of the campaign of the Gandhis in Amethi. Shinde said he would try. We landed late at night. We were kept in some guest house. Early morning, Mr. Shinde rings us up at 6 a.m. and tells us, Rajdeep, come and sit in Priyanka's car and take your chances. So that's what we did. We sat in the car. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra comes a few hours later, surprised to see us, but is too polite perhaps to ask us to leave. And guess what? takes us along with her for the full day, her first full interview, and it worked rather well. You know, she was a natural before the camera. And I still remember one sequence in the field. We were having lunch, all being filmed, with Mr. Shinde giving us paratha and achar. I used to joke later with him. That's why he became Maharashtra Chief Minister later. But that's an aside. Truth is, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra came across to us as a natural communicator, good in Hindi, comfortable in front of the camera. And remember, you have to romance the camera in today's world. That's necessary, almost a necessary quality at times in public life. And Priyanka Gandhi has it. You can call it charisma. Some people have it, some don't. The point though is that charisma, and this is the big but charisma is not enough in today's politics. You need a solid ground game. Photo ops are not enough in today's politics. You need a ground game. Sound bites are not enough in today's politics. You need a ground game. And the Congress in Uttar Pradesh in particular had zero ground game for the longest time. An ineffectual organization and ineffectual local leaders is the burden of the Congress in Uttar Pradesh. When Priyanka Gandhi Vadra then was made General Secretary in charge of Eastern Uttar Pradesh just a few months ahead of the 2019 polls general election, I was surprised. I mean, here was a relatively greenhorn politician who had really not gone beyond Amethi and Rae Bareli, suddenly put in charge of a critical region for the Congress party. It's like asking someone to swim in the deep sea when they haven't even learned how to paddle. It was a trial by fire, and I wasn't surprised at all with the final results. The truth is, politics today is very different from what it was even 20-25 years ago. You can't parachute into an area and use your family surname and believe voters will get instantly attracted. You need a local organization that works round the year. And you know, people liken Priyanka Gandhi Vadra to her grandmother, Indira Gandhi. People like me have said every time Priyanka Gandhi goes out for on a campaign, will this be her Belchi moment? Remember Indira Gandhi, 1977, riding on a back of an elephant to Belchi where Dalits had been attacked and killed, and it became part of her comeback in 1977. But she was an experienced, trusted politician at the time. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has to still earn her spurs in a way. You can't parachute into politics is the point I think that I'm trying to make here. And the truth of the matter is, I was not surprised therefore that in 2019 the Priyanka factors limitations were exposed in Uttar Pradesh by the Modi wave. The Congress won just one seat, that of Rae Bareli, held by Sonia Gandhi. Now, since 2019, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has slowly and not always successfully attempted to help rebuild the Congress organization in UP. For example, the new UP Congress chief Lallu Singh gives me the impression of someone who has the energy and the appetite for a fight. But remember, pitted against the Congress at the moment are formidable adversaries: Yogi Adityanath, Akhilesh Yadav, Mayawati. And all three of them have one big advantage that Priyanka and the Congress simply don't have: a strong, robust cadre on the ground. Which is why, if Priyanka Gandhi Vadra wants to truly compete even now in Uttar Pradesh's politics and be taken as a serious political contender, then she has to bite the bullet. And this is critical, offer herself not just as the Congress's mascot or face for UP, but also as its potential chief ministerial contender. Put more simply, my friends, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has to move from the comfort zone of Delhi into the hotbed of Lucknow and make an announcement that win or lose, she is here to stay in the politics of India's most populous state. To my mind, it's a relatively low risk option at the moment because most political observers have written off the Congress, saying the Congress will not cross double digits in next year's UP elections. But I think what the events in Lakhimpur Kheri have shown us in the last few days is that it is possible to get some traction in this crowded UP political space where suddenly the Congress at least gets into the conversation, because in the last 30 years, the Congress has been even out of the conversation in Uttar Pradesh. Forget about the seats that they won. Only 7 seats that they won, remember, in the last elections of 2017. The fact is that Uttar Pradesh's complex caste and community matrix is the real fault line, and the Congress has lost out totally in that space. But if Priyanka Gandhi Vadra today is to actually say that she is the party's CM's face, she might be able to attract one group that perhaps cuts across this caste community matrix, and a group which I believe is increasingly important in Indian politics, the woman voter. The fact is, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra can at least try to reach out to this particular constituency if she was to offer herself as Chief Minister. At least it would, her presence there as Chief Ministerial contender would enthuse her otherwise dispirited cadres to at least be in the fight and stay in the conversation. Remember, my friends, there have been actors who have started off in guest appearances, as I accused Priyanka Gandhi Vadra 7 years ago of. And yet those actors have gone on then to deliver major hits. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra will find it tough in Yogi's UP to deliver an instant hit. But there is little doubt that, as the events of the last few days have shown, while the jury may be out whether she is a politician of substance yet, there is little doubt that she has at least shown possibly the stomach for a fight. And that, my friends, becomes the starting point for someone like a Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. And for us who are watchers of politics, it brings some excitement once again into this UP election season. Think about it. That was the Straight Bat. Do log on to my YouTube channel and subscribe to it for many more such videos. For now, stay well, stay safe, have a happy festive season, happy Navratra, happy Dashera. Bye for now.